The Lord of the Rings is a story about a great journey. Frodo Baggins travels across all of Middle-earth in order to destroy the One Ring, all while it slowly corrupts him. This journey is accompanied by a grand soundtrack created by Howard Shore. Many leitmotifs permeate Shore's soundtrack. A leitmotif is a recurring musical theme that symbolizes something within the greater work. This video covers the use and development of two motifs, being the Shire and the Fellowship. In order to analyze these themes, a small understanding of chord function is needed. The Shire theme is in the key of D major, meaning the tonic note 1 is D. The D major scale is built upon 7 tones following D, with the chords for each of these tones being notated with Roman numerals. For obvious reasons, the 1 chord is the most important. It feels like the home of the key. Inversely, the 5 chord, in D major being an A major chord, feels the furthest away from home and has the most quote-unquote desire to return there. Historically, songs focused on the 1 and 5 chords were and continue to be very present. The set of rules historic composers followed, centered around these 2 chords, is known as tonality. Much modern music still follows these rules, and therefore songs using this idea continue to feel familiar to us. The basic loop of the chords 1, 5, 6, 4 is a very common loop used in many songs today. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. I can't live with or without you, and she will be loved, and she will be loved. The Shire theme is built using the chords 1, 5, 6, and 4, evoking that same sense of familiarity within the viewer. This theme represents home during the films. After the prologue, the first thing you see is the map zoom in on the Shire as the motif plays for the first time.
The 22nd day of September in the year 1400, by Shire reckoning. Bag End, Bagshot Row, Hobbiton, West Farthing. The Shire. Middle Earth. The third age of this world.
The movie then develops an association between the motif and the Shire by showing everyday hobbit life, all while the theme continues to play.
Concerning hobbits. Hobbits have been living and farming in the 4 farthings of the Shire for many hundreds of years, quite content to ignore and be ignored by the world of the big folk. Middle-earth being, after all, full of strange creatures beyond count, hobbits must seem of little importance, being neither renowned as great warriors, nor counted among the very wise.
Madeline Haddad writes that, quote, as long as the original motif is clearly identified, the subsequent appearances are able to easily recall the thematic context in which the leitmotif was first heard, and thereby extrapolate on it with new information. After leaving the Shire, whenever its motif is heard, it is when something in relation to the Shire is brought up. The first time it plays after leaving is when Frodo reunites with Bilbo in Rivendell. Vincent Rohn points out that here it has an almost hymn-like setting, meaning the way the music is organized. The motif here does not have as complicated rhythms as it had previously, allowing for a more solemn feeling for the relief Frodo feels upon seeing his uncle.
Bilbo!
Hello, Frodo, my lad.
Bilbo!
Oh.
The theme continues to be heard throughout the trilogy, often in a bittersweet setting. The hobbits think back to the Shire with longing, and the wistful sound of the motif helps the viewers to recall to the setting with a similar longing, allowing for sympathy with the hobbits. The second major theme of the trilogy is that of the Fellowship. The Fellowship theme has this almost bombastic feeling, and gives the listener a sense of triumph. Before reaching Rivendell, the motif plays a few times, but it is fragmented, as the Fellowship has not yet fully assembled.
Remember what Bilbo used to say? It's a dangerous business.
Frodo, going out your door, you step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to.
The first time the full setting of the theme is heard is when Elrond names the 9 companions the Fellowship of the Ring, building an immediate association between the motif and our heroes.
On this sort of mission, quest, thing.
Well, that rules you out, Nick. 9 companions. So be it. You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
Right. Where are we going?
When the companions leave Rivendell, we hear the Shire motif play almost timidly, and over low notes that don't quite match up harmonically, signifying the hobbits' unsureness of setting out on their grand quest. The motif, however, is quickly followed by the Fellowship's theme, and an even grander version than what was heard at the Council of Elrond. It is showing that even though they are leaving home, they go with a strong party and are ready to face the challenges ahead. The sureness of the theme, along with the shot of the 9 passing the rocks, cements the theme's place as being one of victory for the Fellowship. Whenever the motif is played, it calls back to the strength of the Fellowship, as well as their determination to fulfill their goal of destroying the ring. We hear it again at the bridge of Khazad-dûm, when they are escaping the mines of Moria. In the second movie, we hear it at Helm's Deep, as Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli slay one orc after another. Upon reaching the third movie, The Return of the King, these themes have been embedded in our minds. On the steps of Cirith Ungol, the point right before Shelob the spider's lair, Frodo tells Sam to go home. The ring has poisoned him so much that he is letting the one thing he has left from home go. Barnaby Martin points out how the score reflects this.
Go home.
Again, searching clarinet, string, and choron glade lines mark out shards of the Shire's theme, dissolving as soon as they appear.
The music reflects the loss of the memory of the Shire, mirroring how Frodo pushes home, that is, Sam, away. Following the climax of the trilogy, the destruction of the ring, Frodo and Sam lay dying on the side of Mount Doom. Here, Frodo finally remembers home, as the poison of the ring is gone. Music reminiscent of the Shire motif plays, showing his memory returning. The scene ends with the first 3 chords of the Fellowship motif, symbolizing that they have finally finished their quest.
I can see the Shire. The Brandywine River. Baggage. Gandalf's fireworks. The lights. In the party tree. Rosie cop dancing. She had ribbons in her hair. If ever I was to marry someone, it would have been her. It would have been her. I'm glad to be with you, Samwise Gamgee. Here at the end of all things.
The soundtrack of The Lord of the Rings is an incredible work of art to accompany one of the greatest stories of all time. Howard Shore uses motifs to show the beauty of Tolkien's world, and through listening, allows us to almost reach Middle-earth ourselves.